Hello, it's Tom from Lincoln Vehicle Solutions. Welcome back to the channel, and today I have the Skoda Kodiaq plug-in hybrid that you see behind me here. Finished in race blue, Sportline trim, like I mentioned, plug-in hybrid. I'm going to run you through the good, the bad. I'll show you the sizing, show you the space, show you the interior, so you can decide whether or not it is right for your next car. So stick around and see what it's all about. So this is the new Skoda Kodiaq Sportline plug-in hybrid that launched last year, finished in race blue. I have to say, I've always liked the Kodiaq actually, especially in Sportline trim, but I do really like the look of the new model. Sportline mainly gives you, well, there's cosmetic upgrades, there's upgrades inside, but most of the time you'll notice this sort of thing outside of the car. So Sportline gives you 20-inch alloys, you get the dark grille surround, black wing mirrors, you get the black roof rails I should say, you get the black badging, so the Skoda badging, Kodiaq badging, and the IV for the plug-in hybrid are in black. And then I think the other thing that you get with the Sportline is this sort of black area on the C-pillar. I've seen a couple of the SE and SEL models driving around, and I think that's silver as standard. But it does look really very nice, and it is a big car actually, this. I'll show you the inside in a minute, but just to give you some context, this is my dad's car that he got in late December last year that replaced a Range Rover Sport plug-in hybrid. We looked at a new Range Rover Sport plug-in hybrid, but his previous car, it was nearly, it must have been £400-500 a month more to go for the new Range Rover Sport plug-in hybrid. This is not far off half the price he was paying for the previous one. Not really lost any space, probably gained a bit of space actually. Obviously the build quality is not quite as good, but for the price you can't go wrong. I mean, there are still some pretty good lease deals available on this model. They're not quite as strong as they were last quarter, but if you're a company car driver, benefit in kind on this is really low. It comes with a 1.5 litre petrol engine with a 20-ish kilowatt hour battery for the hybrid system, which gives you a quoted electric range of around, well, it's quoted at 72 miles. Obviously it's never going to be quite that, depending on weather, especially in the UK, and what you use on the car. But it's pretty good. The hybrid systems are really good now. And to give you an idea of how good, I spoke to my dad earlier about this. He has put 1 tank of fuel in this car since January. The rest of the time he's been driving on pure electric. Obviously he's got a pod point installed, so it works well for him, but he probably does 13,000 miles a year. And to say he's done, well, I'll show you how many miles he's done in the car in a second, but to say pretty much all of it has been on electric is pretty impressive. The other thing I just wanted to talk about whilst we're outside of the car, so the 20-inch wheels that this car comes with, that you can see here obviously, you can actually remove the aero cap. I saw a thread online that you can take away this sort of cap that's built into the alloy. I don't think it's overly expensive. Obviously this is here to improve efficiency and battery range, but it's going to be marginal. But you can actually take the aero cap out. I think you have to buy an additional part for the center insert where the bolts are, and I assume it's just the frame of the alloy that you'll see rather than the aero cap. So I've seen a couple of people online that have done it. I'm sure it was about £200 to do it for all 4 wheels, so not overly expensive, but I don't think they look too bad as they are, to be fair. So let's jump inside of the car, which is a very nice place to be, I have to say. So the main thing that you'll notice with the Sportline, you get obviously the sport seats finished in this sort of suede insert. You've got some leather bolsters And then across the door trims, you've got suede as well. But really nice, really comfortable. You get electric driver's seat with memory function as standard. So if I turn the car on and shut the door, you'll hear the electric seat moving. But yeah, really, really comfortable. You sat nice and high up, good visibility, and overall, it is a very nice cabin. Driver's display is really, really good, nice and clear. That's one thing I mentioned in the last review that I didn't think was amazing in the Peugeot, but I think Volkswagen Group in general do a good job with their displays. So nice and bright, don't have any problems with visibility. They've got rid of the sort of shade that you traditionally get over the top of them, so it sits back into the dash. It feels a bit more airy. I think that does make quite a lot of difference, because normally you've got this sort of hump here behind the steering wheel that encloses the space. So the fact that they've removed that is nice. You've got one thing I like versus the Tiguan is they have traditional buttons on the steering wheel for audio controls, volume, voice activation. I like that versus the Tiguan that have got the sort of haptic touch buttons. Your cruise controls on a separate stalk here, and then your gear selector now has moved to the right hand side of the steering wheel, which, having spoken to my dad, he's always had BMWs and then he had the Range Rover previously. They had the gear selectors in the traditional place. He actually prefers it where it is. I think initially it takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's actually, he thinks, quite a lot easier to have it where it now sits. And obviously it frees up all this space that I'll show you in a second. The only gripe I think he's had with the car is the instrument cluster. The map view doesn't work. So you'll see here we've got this whirling wheel, and that has been the same since you got the car, so the end of December. I've had a look online and there are a few forums and threads about people that have had the same issue, so I'm assuming it's a software update that will resolve the problem, but Skoda haven't released a fix for it yet, which is annoying, because one of the benefits of having a digital driver's display is having the map view. So it doesn't cause a huge issue because you've still got the map view on the main screen, but having it directly in front of you is obviously a lot easier, so you don't have to constantly look up. I don't think he uses the nav a great deal, so it doesn't impact his life dramatically, but it's just something to be aware of. If you do get one of these cars around now, you'll probably have the same problem, unless they've released a fix between when I last looked, which was maybe a month or so ago, and now. So yeah, that's just one thing to be aware of. But yeah, the cabin is really, really nice. You've got a nice big infotainment screen here. You've got inbuilt nav, but to be honest, most people nowadays just use Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, which this car has as well, wirelessly, so you haven't got to plug cables in to actually use it. But yeah, it's really, really clear, nice and bright. It's pretty responsive as well. No lag or anything like that, which is always good. You'll see here the battery state, 92%, 63 miles, so pretty good. And obviously within this system and within the app, you can schedule charging times and things like that to get use of the lower rate tariffs overnight. You've got your music controls, DAB radio obviously built in, phone controls, Apple CarPlay you can see there. You've got your map, which again, nice and responsive. Some screens you do that on and it just has a fit and doesn't work. So yeah, overall, pretty good. I think the only other thing that he's had a slight annoyance with is, and this isn't just with Skoda, it's with pretty much all new car now, they all have speed limit warnings on as standard, which you can turn off, but he does that as soon as he gets in the car. That's the first thing that he does. I think you go into this option and then you've got the speed warning. So essentially, if you're in a 30 mile an hour zone and you go 31, it will bing and tell you every time, and that's a default option that manufacturers have now, which I think has been brought in by the EU. Obviously for safety, it's there for a reason, but it is mildly annoying. And obviously because these cars now, a lot of them will have traffic sign recognition as standard, sometimes you'll be in an area where the car thinks the speed is, say, 30, but actually it's 60. So it will warn you that you're going over the speed limit when actually you're not. So you can turn it off, which is a bonus, but it's just an added step when you get in the car to do that. You also have these pretty smart dials here. So the center one, basically you can press them in and it will change the function. So the center one, you can go from fan speeds to air distribution. I'm not actually sure what that one is. Volume control. And then the outer buttons are for your temperature and your heated seats. So you press them in to get to the heated seats. Both of the front seats are heated in this car as well. It's nice that you still have these physical buttons to use, because, for example, the Peugeot, which I did my last review on, everything is controlled through the infotainment screen. So the screen actually went blank yesterday and it still worryingly hasn't come back on. So I'm trying to sort it. If not, I'll have to speak to Peugeot. But at the moment, the aircon is set to 16 degrees. So all I can do is either leave it on the settings that it's been left on before the screen went black, or turn it on to max, which will obviously turn it on full blast at 16. This time of year, while the sun's out, that is no problem at all, because that's probably what we'd do anyway. But if it cools down a bit, it's going to be too cold. So luckily it's going to be warm all week, but having the physical buttons, should anything happen to the screen, is very handy. You've still got a fairly decent sized glove box, which is here, and then you've also got a little bit of extra storage up there for, I was going to say CDs, but there's no CD player, but paperwork or whatever you might want to put in there. You've got some nice storage areas here. Obviously, I mentioned about the gear selector not being in the traditional location nowadays. So you've got this nice big storage area. I'm just going to move this hair clip so I can open it. Under the front one, you've got a mini deck of cards, obviously, because that's what you have in the car. You've got 2 wireless phone chargers here. And then within this one, you've got 2 cup holders and some more storage space there. You also get this nice, cool little microfiber cleaning cloth for cleaning the displays, which is pretty handy. I'll give them a quick clean whilst I'm in here. But yeah, overall, the quality's pretty good. You do get a few bits of scratchy plastic lower down in the car, but you've got this nice sort of mesh effect metal trim that goes across the dash. You've got the suede that carries across. Seats are really nice and comfortable. So yeah, overall, impressed. So, into the rear of the car. This is a very roomy place to be for a passenger. So to give you some context, I'll just jump in. I am 6'2". This driver's seat has just moved back because I've turned the ignition off and it's moved back. So this isn't the normal driving position that the seat would be in, but even so, I've still got plenty of knee room. I'm sort of sat back quite nicely. I'll show you one of the features of the rear seats in a second. Plenty of room under the front seat as well. And then headroom wise, again, I'm 6'2". I don't have any problems with headroom. One of the things that really bugged me about the Range Rover, if you went in the back, because the batteries were under the rear seats and they were a little bit higher up, I used to constantly bang my head on this area. But no problems with headroom at all. You've got some interior lighting, you've got air vents, you've got 2 USB-C plugs and a 12 volt there as well, which, there you go. Got plenty of space in door bins, electric rear windows obviously, and then this microfiber suede carries on throughout the rear of the car, and the mesh effect over there as well. You've got a central armrest with cup holders, always handy. And there's plenty of room. There's normally a car seat in here, hence the mirror, but there's plenty of room for big bulky car seats, rear facing car seats with some decent ISOFIX points as well that are nice and easy to access. So yeah, overall, pretty good. And then one of the other things that you can do in the back of the car. So my seat that I was just sat on is actually slightly further forward, but there's to drop the seats, you can either do it from the boot or in the back. You pull this little tether and that'll fold the seats down. And then when you put them back up, they go back into a sort of more square finish to give you a sort of squarer finish to the boot for storage. But you can actually pull the tether again, push it all the way back in, and then they sit flush, so they're a little bit more reclined. That's something else that I've also got in the Tiguan, but it's a bit more comfortable that way. And if we come back to the rear and have a look in the boot, got the electric boot release, which is always nice. So with the new Kodiaq, you can get it with a 1.5 litre petrol, a 2 litre diesel, and I think you can now get a 2 litre petrol as well. The plug-in hybrids, obviously you can't get as a 7-seater because of where the batteries are stored within the car. So this is the 5-seat version. I think the SE base model is a 5-seater. And I think the petrol and diesel models, other than the SE, are all 7-seaters. But yeah, 5-seater boot space is about, I'm sure I read it's about 750 litres, which is really, really good. That might actually be in the plug-in as well, which is even more impressive if you get more in the petrol and diesel version because of the batteries. But obviously you've got 5 seats in here, not 7. You've got some handy storage under there for the charging cable, which, as you can see, is not being used. And then it's just a push of the button to shut the boot again. But yeah, overall, I have to say, I really do like this car. I think Skoda, as a brand, are doing some really good things at the moment. The way that the cars look, the fit and finish are really, really good. That's just my opinion. You may think differently. But I think this sort of thing, if you are a personal driver, my dad's a personal driver and he's got the plug-in hybrid just because it works, and like I say, he's not had to put petrol in it for about 3 months now, which is nice. But company car drivers, the low benefit in kind on these is really attractive and really appealing, especially if you've got a family. But even the petrol and diesel version, I think the petrol's about 150 horsepower. This is 204, because obviously you've got the battery as well. So petrol's is 150 it starts at. You can get a 2 litre diesel with 150 horsepower, I believe, as well. You can get a 2 litre diesel with 193 horsepower, which is 4x4. And then I think they have released a 2 litre petrol version that's a bit more powerful with 4-wheel drive. And I believe there's also now a VRS version of this out, which I assume will be 265 if it's similar to the Octavia in terms of power output. So yeah, overall, I'm very impressed. Hope you enjoyed the review of the Kodiaq. As I mentioned before, I really like Skoda, Volkswagen Group in general. I think they make some of the best cars that are out there at the moment in terms of styling, efficiency, usability. I'm really impressed. So I'll link the current deals on our Skoda Kodiaq models in the description below. If you're looking at a Kodiaq, I would definitely recommend looking at the plug-in hybrid if the pricing works, because the range is so good. If you do a lot of town driving, and even if you're, I mean, the journey that my dad normally does from here, where he lives, to our house is about 20 miles each way, and he does that on pure electric and then just whips it on charge when he gets back. So even if you are a personal driver and you quite fancy a plug-in hybrid with loads of space, definitely would recommend the Kodiaq. So yeah, like I say, link in the description below to check out our current Kodiaq deals. We'll have all the models, petrol, diesel, plug-in hybrid, SE, SEL, Sportline, VRS if it's out. Any questions, give me a shout.